Morning S2, welcome to the fourth distance learning lesson. Okay, we're just going to quickly go over our weekly plan again. This week we are talking about the examples from last week and we're looking at how to plan our essay. There are going to be fewer tasks to do this week, so make sure you get them all done because that will help you write your essay in the next couple of weeks. First of all, as your spelling starter, you know what to do now, so pause the video and do that now. Okay, we're going to move on to our main lesson then, which is thinking about how to plan our reflective essay. First thing I want you to do is think about the examples that we've already looked at, okay? Think about how they structured their essays. They were all done ever so slightly differently, and that's okay, but they all had a clear beginning, middle, and end. Remember that your main task is to recreate a convincing impression of a personal experience, and we are all going to think about our experiences of lockdown, okay? Now, your essay might just be one particular day in lockdown. I think a few of you are already thinking about doing the day you found out about lockdown, so it might be just before it happened or your first couple of days. Or you might just want to talk about the experience as a whole and talk about a series of days, okay? As long as there is a clear beginning, middle, and end, then it's structured well. So, the beginning bit then, there's a few things I want you to think about. First of all, I want you to think about the setting, okay? I want you to be able to contextualise your particular lockdown because we all have very different experiences of lockdown. Don't forget that, okay? I want you to think about your initial thoughts and feelings and, if possible, try and reflect, but you don't have to do it until the end of your essay. You are only an S2, okay? Here's just an example. The sunlight poured in through the gaps of my supposed blackout blinds, reaching out to me as though determined to wake me up. I could already smell the sweet aroma of pancakes reaching up to me from the kitchen below. I jumped up and grabbed my dressing gown, eager to run towards my favourite breakfast. Today was going to be a great day. Thinking about it now, I probably should have wondered why I was allowed to sleep in so late and why pancakes were being made on a seemingly ordinary Monday. I should have questioned why everything was so different, but at the time, all I could think about was getting down there before my sister got there first. So, this person has described a tiny bit about the weather. You know it's roughly in the morning, but maybe later on in the morning. There's a little bit about their bedroom. There's some use of the senses there to kind of really get you to understand where and when they are. And then there's lots of reflection at the end where they think, this was really odd, but because it was pancakes and pancakes are great, they didn't think about it being odd at the time. So I would assume that this essay would have some kind of bad news throughout it, but at the first bit, the person didn't know that yet. Okay. Then we have our build up section, and this really depends on the kind of essay you're going to write. Okay. So if you're writing about one particular clear event, a bit that you had a really strong emotional reaction to, you'll have like a build up towards it. And this would be 1 or 2 paragraphs, it wouldn't be very long. And you really want to build up to your main moment, the bit with the biggest emotional reaction, okay? But even in your build up bits, you want to keep adding in thoughts, feelings, and reflection. However, if you were doing a sort of a series of days, then maybe you want to build up to the most dramatic day, okay? So if you're doing lockdown, you might think about maybe there was a day where just everybody fell out, it was just a bit too much, and that's what you want to write about. Or maybe there was a day where you discovered something that you never thought about before, like how amazing the woods are near where you live on one of your walks, if you're able to get out, because I know not everybody is, okay? Look at the examples again, the ones that I referred to earlier on in the video, and you know they're all still there online for you to look at. How did they do it, right? Start looking at other people's work and start thinking, well, how could I use that in my own work, okay? Then you have your main bit, and it's so important in your main bit that you describe what has happened in detail. You need to take your time, and I do mean literally, because I want you to take your time, but even in your writing, I don't want you to go, oh yeah, and then we all fill out. Okay, I want you to really pick things apart and draw things out so that you can take over. I would imagine your main bit would be at least 2 paragraphs long. Okay. Think about using the sentences. Think about describing thoughts and feelings, and where possible, try and reflect. Then you have your ending of your reflective essay. Okay. So think about what happened after the main event. How did you feel? And if you haven't already reflected, you absolutely need to at the end of your essay. Okay. So here's an example without reflection. First of all, this is all about a person that fell out with their friends because of some sort of rumour caused by their best friend. The day ended in a strange mixture of sadness and hope. My so-called best friend and I were no longer speaking. I wasn't sure if I would ever be able to forgive her for talking about me like that. But then I remembered what my mum had said to me, that I needed to remember that I had plenty of other friends, friends who called her out on her behaviour and listened to me when I was upset. And then something else struck me. People make mistakes. I was hurt, but I would get over it. What she did was wrong, but maybe one day we could be friends again. Then we have the bit of reflection. This is a separate paragraph, but a little bit smaller. Looking back, I'm glad we went through this. She needed to know that talking about me was not okay, but now that we have made up, our friendship is stronger than ever. I am able to trust people again, and more importantly, I have trust in myself. Right, so don't worry, you're not writing your essay this week. Your main task is a Teams assignment where you have to plan your personal essay. You'll be given a table to do this on the Word document, so you must edit that, okay? Complete it for next week. There's also a section for your thoughts on the poem. And remember, you've got tutorials every Thursday morning. If you're in 2A and 2B, it's at 10 o'clock. If you're in 2C and 2D, it's at 10:30. And it's in your distance learning channel in your own team. Right, we're moving on to RUI now. And we're looking at analysing imagery. Okay. Now, before I've shown you how to write a simile, I've showed you how to create one, but I've not actually shown you how to analyse one. Okay. And what we mean by analyse is breaking it down and explain what the writer was meaning. But there's a really simple way to do it. Okay. And it's a method called just as so it is. So as I said, we're going to look at a simile. Here's an example. I slept like a baby. So in your RUI assessment, they might say to you, analyse that image. So what you want to do is you want to break it down. You want to break it down to what's called the literal root. So what does sleeping like a baby mean, literally? And then the metaphorical meaning. What did that writer mean? And use just as so it is. So just as is the literal root. Just as a baby sleeps soundly and for a long time. Well, some babies do. Then you go into the metaphorical meaning. And so it is that so it is that the writer slept really well. Here's another example. She ran as fast as a cheetah. Just as a cheetah is an animal famous for running incredibly fast, so it is that she was an incredible sprinter. If I'm going too fast for you or you're still not sure about this, you need to join the tutorials to get some help, okay? So I want you to try this and just do this in your OneNote, okay? And remember that you need to then self-mark on Thursdays when I hand out the answers. Now, if your answer isn't exactly what's on the answer scheme, it doesn't mean you're wrong, okay? Just as long as it's sort of like it, or if you're not sure, come to tutorials. His room was like a bomb had gone off inside it. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down the example, then I want you to write down your answer underneath. Just as a bomb going off would do what to a room, so it is that his room was what? The stars were like diamonds in the sky. So remember, write down the example, then underneath write down your answer. Just as diamonds are, think about how you would describe a diamond. So it is that the stars, and then explain what the stars looked like. Last one, I was as happy as a kid on Christmas morning. Again, just as a kid on Christmas morning is, what are they like? So it is that the writer was, how did they feel? And don't write happy, okay? Vary your vocabulary so we know you actually understood what you were trying to do. So pause the video, do that now. Right, we're moving on to poetry and we're going to sit with Maya Angelou. And it's really important that you've engaged with this poem because this is probably a poem that we will actually look at writing about in the next few months, okay? A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The cage bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the cage bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade wind soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a cage bird stands on the grave of dreams, his shadow shouts on a nightmare scream, his wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The cage bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the cage bird sings of freedom. So for next Monday then, you've got a Teams assignment. The assignment will show up on the general page. I can't get it to show up on your distance learning channels, okay? The general page of your normal team. There's a Word document in there you need to edit. You will plan your reflective essay. You will add in thoughts about the poem. There'll be a space for you to do that in the assignment. Once you've done that, click hand in. Do not click hand in if you've not edited that Word document, okay? The spelling starter and the RUI task though can be put into your OneNote, and please self-mark the RUI task. That's it.